throughout my entire professional career, I haven't done anything for my people. Why, and I kept on saying to myself, why not me? And it just, I felt like I have to do something for my culture, for my heritage, and I feel like I'm the best man to do it.
This is Leon Davis, and you're listening to One Good Question. Welcome to One Good Question. Today's guest is Kevin Topp. He is a husband, a father, a veteran, and a chef, which is what we'll be talking about today. He is doing a lot of exciting things in the world of culinary arts. He is preparing to open up the first Cambodian Khmer food restaurant in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I had a really great time talking to him, and I am excited for you all to hear him today. So with no further delay, this is Kevin Topp answering his one good question. Kevin, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. Can you tell me the series of events that led you into deciding to focus on Khmer Cambodian food? And what is your vision for showcasing your culture and educating the consumer?
Okay, awesome. Well, for me, I just feel like my entire life has kind of set me up for this life in food, so to speak. Growing up in a household where I was, first generation Cambodian American. I grew up with my grandma, who was really adamant about preserving our roots, ensuring that I knew who I was as a Cambodian. She was adamant about ensuring that we ate at home and we ate Cambodian, whereas my mom, on the other hand, she was adamant about her kids really embracing who we are as Americans, ensuring that her kids absorb the diversity within America, what makes America great. So, for us, on the dinner table, for us growing up, we would have Cambodian food on the table, but it would be kind of mixed in with Mexican, with Italian, you name it. My mom, I'm fortunate that my mom, she was always exploring. She was always trying to learn new things and bring it back home to her kids. And when she was at work or whatever, and making friends at work, learning new recipes, learning new, ideas on food, she would bring it home and test it out for her kids. And I think that kind of just like brought about this whole creative fire within me. My parents, they were always working. I was kind of always stuck at the house with my grandma. My grandma cooked the same things over and over again, which kind of pushed me as a kid to learn how to cook on my own and kind of learn how to cook things outside of Cambodian food. For me, my parents, they worked constantly. My parents pulled me out of public school and placed me in the private school directly across the street. So I was pulled away from a diverse group of friends. I was pulled away from the Cambodian kids that I grew up with, that I saw on the weekends, that I played with constantly. It's just a part of the community. I was pulled from that comfort zone and placed in the private school directly across the street, where I was probably one of a handful of kids who weren't white. And on top of that, my sister and I, we were the poor kids that actually got a scholarship and was there in private school. I was a kid in private school that had the fake Nikes. Thankfully, we wore uniforms. Otherwise, I would have probably wore the same thing over and over again, which wearing uniforms you're wearing the same things over and over again. All these other kids, they had different Jordans every single day. They had all the latest toys, latest video games, and here I am, trying to find myself and trying to fit in. I remember one time where I was playing outside at recess. I look across the street and I see my friends playing as well. And they came over and they approached the fence and they started yelling, "Traitor, traitor, you're a white boy now," things like that. Little did they know, like, my own struggles with being in the particular school I was in, because they didn't know that I wasn't fitting in, and they didn't know just, what I was dealing with. Pretty much turned a, strong, confident, outgoing kid into this shy, conservative kid. I was different from the rest. I was the Cambodian kid, and it pushed me to kind of really, really find myself. I remember there was a particular experience that kind of shaped everything. When I was there in private school, I was told to recite the national anthem in front of what seemed like the whole entire school. I think I was in third grade. I had to recite the whole national anthem in front of what seemed like the whole entire school. And, at that age, being first generation, the national anthem is not something that your parents rehearsed with you, because they don't know it themselves, because they came to this country as refugees. They're still struggling and learning the language. And so the national anthem wasn't something that was just flowed naturally for me as an 8-year-old. So here I am on stage trying to recite it as best as I could. And I looked across the room and I see my own teacher chuckling, laughing at me. So it crushed me, because it's someone that you hold, with high regards. And so at that point, I became really mad at myself and the people around me. I went on this quest to figure out who exactly I was, what makes me significant, what do I have to hold on to, what is a Cambodian, what is a Cambodian American. And so I did some digging, and there was an opportunity for me to do a research paper. And so I decided to do the research paper on the genocidal act known as the Killing Fields, the genocidal act that brought my parents here to America. So I wrote this long, extended research paper, and it pretty much blew people away. It really hit people, and they understood, and it actually brought light to who I was, and really had me feeling really proud of who I am as, being Asian, being a Cambodian American. I learned a lot from that research paper, and most importantly, I learned that I have this special ability to channel my thoughts through writing. And it's crazy because those skills that I attained from being this kid trying to figure himself out, kind of sparked and shaped my, just having that research ability and the writing ability and just the whole creative side. It kind of fueled my passion and worked itself into who I am today as a chef. But yeah, fast forward from those days in private school to going into the military. I remember watching 9/11 play out on TV with my grandma, and probably a year after that, she passed away due to kidney failure. And the very next year, I found myself enlisted in the Army, set to go out to Iraq. I went to Iraq as a food inspector. It's kind of funny because actually my whole goal was to get into the medical field in the Army, which I did. The food inspector MOS actually falls into the medical realm of things, but I actually wanted to get into medical, to like a medical MOS, like actually being in the hospital and so forth. But the MOS school was too long of a wait, and so I just went ahead and went with the food inspection MOS. It's crazy how everything kind of works itself out. I learned a lot in the military. I learned a lot within the MOS as a food inspector, but most importantly, I learned the significance of food, just how important it is to all of us. Because I'm there in Iraq, and you've got all this chaos going all around you. The one place of refuge is the chow hall. It's a dining facility. Every single day, throughout all of the chaos, the one thing that you look forward to is a hot meal. That just kind of always struck with me. It never left me as far as just the impact of food. And I made it my goal to extend my experience of being a food inspector into becoming a chef, and hoping that I can still carry that same kind of impact for other people. Just fast forward to getting out of the Army and everything else. I got out of the Army with the one goal in mind, and that was to be a chef. And, I was fortunate to rise up in a short period of time. Pretty much got out of one uniform as a leader and dropped down to a line cook, climbing my way back up to the ranks of executive chef. And I pretty much did it the same way, through perseverance and just discipline. Throughout the entire process, I never once decided upon doing Cambodian food. I've always kind of pushed forth and, studied from the best chefs that I can study from. And I've always kind of thought big, looked at all of these, fine dining establishments, and kind of pulled from all of that, and just always kind of thought about, doing something big, ambitious, and kind of forgetting about my roots, so to speak. I pretty much forgot about what my grandma was always telling me, and that was not to forget your roots. And I remember, I have a friend, who I looked up to, who I called my older sister. She passed away about 3 years ago now, a little over 2 years ago. She was always the one in my ear pushing me to do Cambodian food. I kind of always blew her off. It just kind of, after her passing and everything, and just I really kind of started to think about, throughout my entire professional career, I haven't done anything for my people. It's a cuisine that was born over 3,000 years ago. It's been hidden in the shadows. It's unknown to the world. Why, and I kept on saying to myself, why not me? I've been fortunate to have all of this professional experience, I feel obligated to use it to highlight my culture and my heritage as a chef. And I feel like be a disservice not to do so. I went from serving in America's Army to being fortunate to serving America's team, working with a lot of great chefs and people within the hospitality industry. And it just, I felt like I have to do something for my culture, for my heritage. And I feel like I'm the best man to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because it's funny, I'm kind of at a similar impasse myself as far as doing something for my culture. I grew up very suburban also here in Dallas. So what I've found is that I kind of ended up separated from my culture, and I haven't really connected with my culture. Looking back, you're like, wow, it would have been, there are things that I wish I would have known earlier. But I think everything in due time.
Awesome. Just want to say also, like, it's pretty incredible. When I think about it, there's a particular picture that I have. It's from my last day in the Army at my going away luncheon. So my unit actually gifted me a chef jacket with the Cowboys logo on the left side of the jacket, because they knew what my intentions were, and they knew that I had this love for the Dallas Cowboys, which is right now I despise them right now. I hate where they're at right now. Nevertheless, I'm still a diehard fan. But yeah, they gifted me the chef jacket with the belief that they knew that I was going to do something big. My path has been really hard, because you go from a sergeant promotable looking for my rocker, leading soldiers, to getting out of the Army, leaving the Army with all of this security, to getting out of the Army and starting from the bottom and climbing your way back up. I'm really blessed. I'm really fortunate to have had the experiences that I've had working at the second floor with Jay. I learned a lot from him. I'm grateful for him pushing me. Even Victor, as young as he is, with him there, like the guy can work. He's young, but he was always getting the best out of me. And I learned a lot from everyone there. It's really shaped who I am today. But it's pretty crazy when you look back. Hindsight is 2020. There's a lot of things I definitely could have done better, but I don't necessarily regret anything. I go back and I remember a particular word of advice from one of my first chefs when I was working at Roy's Hawaiian. He told me that, Kevin, one day you're going to be a head chef, and I just hope that you still have your family intact. I remember kind of chuckling and saying, I can have my cake and eat it too, but, it's definitely been a struggle. I strongly believe that I would be exactly where I want to be if I was single, if I was on my own. But with a family, you've got challenges. With working in this industry, it's not easy, because you're pouring in 60, 70 plus hours a week to ensure that other people outside of your family, they get the royal treatment, and they get service, and they get great food. And then you come home knowing that your kids got to eat McDonald's, for dinner. Every year around time frame of when the James Beard Award is happening and people are getting Michelin stars and things like that, I'm always like, gosh, I wish that was me, but that would probably require moving out of the state and chasing that and leaving my family. I'm grateful for my kids and for my wife, who has stood by me throughout all of this. And without her, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. But I'm not done yet, so I still got a ways to go.
Plenty of time, man. There's plenty of time.
Yeah.
The name of the restaurant is Campfire Eats, correct?
Correct. The camp in campfire comes from the word Kampuchea, which is the original name for Cambodia. And so when you're looking at it from that perspective, it's like the Cambodian fire. And then when you're looking at it together as campfire, it's what America knows a campfire to be. It's something tiny but impactful.
Something people to come around and gather.
Exactly. Come around and gather. And, so the name itself, it means a lot to me because it's where I'm at. I want to drive the Cambodian spirit into America. So this name is my correlation to America. And that represents me as a Cambodian American. So it's important that we make this happen.
Awesome. I'm glad I asked you that question because I almost didn't. That's the first time you've explained the name to me, and that's awesome. I like that a lot.
I know that I'm standing among giants. This city is finally breaking into and really embracing diversity. It's a great time right now in this city. Just last year we were voted, best restaurant city of the year by Bon Appetit, which is huge for the city. But the city has been saturated by Southwestern fare.
Yeah, Southwestern steakhouses, Tex-Mex. It's everywhere.
So it's got a good mix, but it doesn't have Cambodian food. So I'm here to plug that in to the mix. I not only want it to be one of the best restaurants in the city, but I want it to, be one of the best restaurants in America.
Well, man, I look forward to it. I look forward to watching the journey. So.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Well, great. Well, let's pivot off of that and go to the house question, which is what piece of advice that you've received and ignored that looking back, you wish you had taken?
I think because it's so fresh in my mind right now, which is the restaurant not working out in downtown like I had hoped for. I just kind of wish that I would have taken the advice of location when it comes to opening a restaurant. I think I allowed the allure of being downtown, and the space actually came to me before the initial concept did. And so it was backwards from the get-go. And so that to me is always kind of a recipe for disaster. So that's something that I wish I would have trusted my gut, listened to myself, and listened to some wise folks who were in my ear at that time. That's one thing I really regret, but that's why I'm at the position where I'm at right now, awaiting, hoping to secure this new location. I wish that I had the concept fully in place and then have the concept dictate my location versus it being the other way around. That's a huge regret of mine. It's advice I should have taken, and I should have trusted my gut from the get-go.
Yeah, trusting your gut and following the principles to be true. But
exactly.
Yeah, sometimes the excitement of getting to that point, sometimes you forget that stuff. Same thing when I did my food truck.
Yeah.
Didn't follow a principle that I knew to be true.
Yeah. But you live and you learn, and I think I won't make the same mistake twice. I think this time around, I'll be successful.
Yep, I believe it too, man. I'm there for you. I'm here for you every step of the way. So anything I can do to help you, let me know.
I appreciate it. Yeah, most definitely.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. This was awesome. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Chef Kevin Topp. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, be on the lookout for his new restaurant, Campfire Eats. That's Campfire with a K. It will be in the Plano area. Once again, this is Leon Davis, and that was One Good Question.